Hello, I'm Marissa. I am the social media director here at Eat This Not That, and we are about to go live with a member of our medical expert board, Toby Amidor. Toby is an award-winning dietitian and Wall Street Journal best-selling cookbook author who believes healthy and wholesome can also be appetizing and delicious. And she is the founder of Toby Amidor Nutrition, where she provides nutrition and food safety consulting services for individuals, restaurants, and food brands. And today she is going to be joining us for a live Q&A of sorts. We recently asked our followers what nutrition information they had read online and weren't so sure about. And today Toby will be weighing in on their responses and debunking any of them that may turn out to be myths. So let's go ahead and bring her in now. Hello.
Hi there. Hold on, let me get the camera. Look a little pretty.
How are you?
I'm fabulous. How are you doing?
Great. I'm so happy that you can join us again. For those just tuning in, we have Toby Amidor here. She's a member of our medical expert board here at Eat This, and she is going to be going through some submissions that we got from our followers of nutrition information they've heard or read online that they weren't so sure about. And Toby, you will be perhaps debunking some of those if they turn out to be myths, but weighing in nonetheless. Is there anything you'd like to say about nutrition info that we come across online and things like that to set the stage before I jump into?
Well, I have to say, a lot of the information we're seeing on TikTok and just on social media in general, you got to be careful. There might be like a tinge of truth and then it goes like, in the wrong direction. So it's better to ask a registered dietitian. We have studied this. This is things that we do on a daily basis. We work with folks that have different medical conditions. I mean, that's what we're trained to do and take a full exam for. So please, if you have a question, instead of like going off on tangents and being super afraid of food, just ask, and if it's something, I'll always write an article on it, or I'll be like, hey, Eat This, can we write something on this? Because so many people are curious about it. Or can we do a Facebook Live or some sort of, can we address it? So please do speak up and ask.
Thank you for giving the opportunity here today that so many of our followers did write in and ask about things. So I will jump right in. The first submission that we got was, intermittent fasting is the healthiest way to eat.
So actually a study just came out in the past week or two that actually had some negative, it was negative on it, like shortened your lifespan, something like that. I've been on the road, so I didn't really dive into it like I should have, or at least I'm catching up. But in general, I'm not a fan of intermittent fasting. And there are various types. So the type where you fast eating 25% of your calories. So that means on a 2,000 calorie, just let's give a standard diet. That would be 500 calories a day, twice a week, non-consecutive, and the rest you eat what you want. The problem is if you're exercising, 500 calories is just not right for you. And that's a big issue. And it really, one of the things, no matter what type, like some people do the windows, like they only eat for an 8-hour window, and the rest they just drink non-caloric beverages. But it's not teaching you how to eat healthy eating habits. And that's a big thing. Another thing negative that I find with it is the reason we do have 3 meals spread out through the day, and even with between 1 to 3 snacks, is because some nutrients don't like other nutrients to be absorbed together. And so spreading some of these nutrients out through the day allows for better absorption, like calcium. If you have a lot of calcium at once you reach about 500 milligrams or so of calcium, you start to decline on how much your body absorbs. Same with protein. Your body only likes about 25 grams at a time, and then it doesn't utilize it. So there's a reason why things are spread out through the day. And if some people are like, well, I do intermittent fasting because I eat at night. Totally legit, right? So then we got to find some better ways. If cutting off a time works for you at night when you realize that's when you're doing it, then do that. But skipping meals and just like shoving them into like an 8-hour period isn't necessarily the best.
Next, someone said organic foods are always healthier?
So research shows that nutritional values between organic and conventional are actually pretty similar. One is not necessarily healthier from a nutritional standpoint than the other. I know a concern is pesticide residue. And I have to tell you, if you look, there's a pesticide residue calculator online. And if you look, let's say, and just as I'm prefacing this by 90% of Americans don't eat their vegetables daily and 85% don't eat their fruit. You would need to take, let's say, strawberries, several hundred servings of strawberries every single day for a long time to get even a tiny smidge that may be in there to anything, because a lot of times there's nothing in there that when they've done testing with the FDA, it's below the levels 99%, point some percent of the time. So you would need to get 300 and something servings of strawberries. Do you even, like, most of us don't even get close to that, let alone, like, it would be nice if we met the guidelines. So it's a lot of fear mongering about it. It's a total, I say it's like your right to choose what you want, but choosing organic, I don't personally buy organic. It's too expensive for me. And I'm very confident with our FDA and the system of regulating the pesticide. Listen, the farmers, it's darn expensive for them. They don't want to use them, and it's their own health as well, and their families eating this. So they go by regulations, what the FDA sets up, and please eat. If you can't afford organic, please, then buy conventional, go for local, go for ugly. You know how they have those ugly fruit, whatever it is, just please take in your fruits and vegetables. Stop being scared of the food.
Perfect. Calcium supplements alone do not work for bone strength.
So in terms of calcium supplements, if you look at the original, it's funny, they looked at the original like DASH study, and it actually showed that having milk along with fruits and vegetables together, yes, it was good for hypertension. But if you look at certain foods, like even prunes, it's the mineral content in there. So some people are like, oh, it's one nutrient that's helping lower stuff. It's actually minerals that help with blood pressure. It helps with the bone, if you're looking for bone strength. So yes, talk to your doctor, registered dietitian. They look at how much calcium you're eating and they'll balance it with the supplement. But there's also, you have to look at the overall diet. And that's why we're back to fruits and vegetables. That's why eating a balanced diet with your fruits and vegetables, your whole grains and everything is really important, because you need those minerals. And yes, like, it's funny, like people like prunes are good for, going to the restroom. Yes, but it also has the minerals that's been associated with bone health. So yeah. So a lot of these like dried fruit or fruits and vegetables, people like count out. I'm like, no, please eat them. There are reasons for it. So yeah, it's not just calcium, but calcium is an important part. They'll put D in some calcium supplements too, because there are a lot of nutrients that work together for bone health.
Next, and if you're just tuning in, the statements I'm reading are submissions from our followers about facts that they have heard on Toby to weigh in on. So that is why it is in the form of a statement, not a question. Next, someone submitted, BMI is a useless metric for overall health.
Okay, I think this kind of got out of control. In a I have a master's in clinical nutrition and dietetics. I have to go in the hospital. I need certain check marks and guidelines for myself. And so in a clinical setting, it is one of the check marks we look at. It is not the only thing. So if you're within your BMI, okay, that's okay. But let's look at some of the other factors. Or if you're above it, let's look, are you exercising, lifting weights? Like, let's see the other factors. Are you smoking, couch potato? For the general public to use BMI, that's useless for the general public. In a clinical setting, it is separate. So to say it's useless, I don't agree with. To say it's useless, like just for a doctor to tout it for you and not think about anything else, not the best idea either. So think about the type of setting it's used at and if it's used appropriately. So that's kind of my response to that one.
That makes so much sense. Next, someone said a vegan diet is good for your health.
So a vegan diet, which means that you're taking out any and all sorts of animal products, including honey, including dairy, including fish, including eggs, all meats. So overall health, yes, you can have, I'm going to kind of make it the wording I'm going to use. You can eat a healthy diet by eating a vegan diet. However, you can also eat a healthy, balanced diet with being just eating fish in that diet, or if you want fish and eggs, or being omnivorous. You can have animal products in your diet and having a healthy diet. You do you. Choose what you want to do for yourself. If you believe that that's the best for you, fine, but at least become educated on how to balance those vegan-based foods in order to get everything you need in your diet.
Next, saturated fat is not unhealthy.
So there's been a lot of discussion about this. We do know that saturated fat, it is a well-established association in many, many studies over the years. And so saturated fat, especially coming from the fat around the chicken, you know, the skin of the chicken, or on the meats, or if you have lard, that has been shown to raise cholesterol levels, okay, your blood cholesterol. So when the doctor, if you're eating a lot of like high saturated fat foods of the sort for a long time, maybe you have genetics, you're not moving, there are numerous factors that play a role, but food certainly can play a role in increase the cholesterol. There is controversy specifically with dairy, the saturated fat in dairy, and that one, it's tough because telling people to only eat, you know, saturated fat from one source versus another, it's very tough to know that, and science is kind of evolving. So the saturated fat coming from the dairy milk, there's a lot more that is going on in there, and there is some research showing beneficial effects. Does that mean you should go guzzle like whole milk till tomorrow? No, everything is still in moderation. So if you want to utilize your 10% of total fat in your diet, recommended, that's the max recommended by the dietary guidelines, and want to focus on whole milk as your source of saturated fat, then go on, have a serving of whole milk or whole yogurt or full fat. That's okay. And it can be done within a nice, you know, well-balanced diet. But that's the only type of saturated fat that does have some positive research around it.
Okay. Next was enriched flour is bad for you.
So I just got back from Expo West, and there are so many misconceptions, and people are asking for quote unquote clean flour, clean pasta, clean rice, meaning that when they go through the processing of taking that whole grain, and a lot of the nutrients come out. So a lot of the iron and folate and a lot of B vitamins, they all come out. So government highly recommends we put it back in. Is there a difference between when they're naturally found and the other, and when they create them? There actually research that shows no, there is no difference. It is totally safe. It is totally fine. It does its job. It's totally, you know, you can do it. You can trust it. It's good. Why we do it is for their reasons. Okay. The folate, we had a very big issue with neural tube defects in babies, which means they had their nervous system, their brain and spinal cord were deformed, malformed. They're in a wheelchair their whole lives, or they have death, you know, when they're born. And so we have been able to prevent that in the US, or minimize that, because of the enrichment process. And so I don't think we should be discounting. We're almost moving backwards. We should not be so elitist as to say, hi, this is bad for us. Again, we're being scared. There is a reason why it went in. And we even see cereal companies like changing the amount to reflect of certain nutrients, to reflect kind of what society is at. We're not enough of vitamin D. So some cereal companies are like doubling their vitamin D to reflect that lower amount that we're taking in our diet. So please don't be afraid of the enriched products, especially from rice, pastas, breads. There is a reason. Yes, you want whole grain whenever possible, but yeah, when you take a little bit of white bread or white pasta, the enriched, there's a reason for it.
Okay. And our last fact, or perhaps myth, that someone submitted is eating healthy fats is a healthy lifestyle.
Yes. So it's funny because I think the 2015 dietary guidelines really focused more on healthy fats, and that's your unsaturated fat. So you have your mono or polyunsaturated. So mono unsaturated fats are like avocado oil or avocados and olive oil, even canola oil. And your polys are your corn, cottonseed. I always remember with the C's. So corn and cottonseed. So there are all those vegetable type oils. So those are the monounsaturated. So olive oil, that's why it's like touted, but avocado fits it too. It's been shown to help decrease some inflammation, some heart health benefits as well. And so replacing your saturated fats like the skin of the chicken or the lard with the healthier fats like oils is a healthy swap. And you do want to focus on taking it, and nuts, by the way, and seeds have healthy oils, and peanut butter. So all these things, putting in these plant-based, if you will, plant-forward foods and these plant-forward oils, which we've always had, is a way to make some healthy swaps in your diet. So yes, just remember, I will say, 1 tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. That may not mean anything to you, but if you start, which I've had clients before, they're like, olive oil is great. Yes, it's great, but don't use a cup for a family of 4. You're adding close to 1,000 calories. Even divided by 4, that's just 250, 300 calories from oil, which you don't need a couple hundred calories. So, for a pound of meat, I usually use 2 to 3 tablespoons of like an olive oil, not an extra virgin stovetop. You have to use olive or canola, or you can use avocado as a high heat oil. But don't have a heavy hand on it. Just a little goes a long way.
Okay. Fantastic. Toby, thank you so much.
Welcome. I hope that answers the questions that people have. And, next time around that we do this, if we can debunk more myths if people want.
Yeah, I think that would be wonderful. This was a really great topic. We got some really great submissions. I hope some of you tuning in perhaps were the ones that wrote these into us, so you had your questions answered. Please, before we both sign off, tell everyone where they can find you online and follow you for more great information.
Sure. So here's tobyamidornutrition.com, which is also my website. And on everything else, on Instagram, Pinterest, it's Toby Amidor, at Toby Amidor. So anywhere you want, if you Google Toby and nutrition, I will pop up.
Wonderful. And for those that tuned in maybe late and wanted to hear the full live, which was so informative and worth watching, it will live on our Facebook account. As soon as this is done, it will be posted under videos. So check it out. Toby, thank you so much once again for joining us. Such a pleasure.
Thank you so much. All right. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Have a great one. And thanks again to everyone for tuning in. Bye-bye.